to this, tech giant Google is slashing 12,000 jobs, becoming the latest tech company to face mass layoffs. Companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta have all had to trim their workforce in the last few months. Michael George has what's behind those job cuts.
Alphabet, the parent company of Google, is cutting 12,000 jobs, about 6% of its workforce. In an email, the company's CEO wrote, "Over the past 2 years, we've seen periods of dramatic growth. To match and fuel that growth, we hired for a different economic reality than the one we face today." The belt-tightening at Google follows other recent tech sector job cuts. Microsoft announced earlier this week it's laying off 10,000 workers, or nearly 5% of its workforce. Amazon has said it's cutting 18,000 jobs, and Meta, the parent company of Facebook, announced it's laying off 11,000 positions.
I think that many companies are right-sizing their staff.
Many tech companies went on a pandemic hiring spree because of increased demand for their products as millions of people worked remotely. By late last year, Google's parent company, Alphabet, said it had nearly 187,000 employees on the books.
It is pretty easy for most companies to cut 10 to 15% of their employee base right now.
Economists say what's happening in tech is so far an exception in the labor market.
The overall labor market has been remarkably resilient. The latest data we have through December suggested it is holding up despite higher interest rates.
For newly out-of-work software engineers, a job search beyond the big-name companies may be the way to go.
I've been able to get interviews from more smaller startups.
And even with the new downsizing, many of the big tech companies are still bigger than they were before the pandemic. Michael George, CBS News, New York.